Okay, so video number 2. Now I'm going to start coloring her face. So if you notice, like right here, there's a slight blue light that's coming on top of her face. So the more like further down her face you go, it starts to turn into kind of an orange, I don't know how to describe it, but there's this blue hue on the top of her face. And I'm going to start coloring this. I'll show you how to do the tones with the lighting like that. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. Okay, so first I'm going to do the outer edges here. You know, I should have sharpened my pencil first. So I got to do this with my teeth. That is not smart. Oh, God. Broke a tooth. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So on this picture, the darker areas are like right here. Like to shade, it's all about how quickly you can fade from dark to light, like over a period of like space. Like if you have a lot of space to gradually blend from dark to light, it gives off a softer texture than if you were to do like an immediate highlight. It's how, like if you were to go this long and blend from dark to light, it would look like more of a soft material or texture. But if you were to go from really dark to really light, and then there was a drastic highlight right there, being that it's a shorter amount of space doing that gradient, you would see more of a contrast. So her face has more of a matte finish. Glossy is when there's like that drastic highlight that I was just describing. If you notice in this picture, she has more of a matte, like very soft texture, and it's because of the lighting. Let's see. So she has kind of this I want to say like this groove right here. Skin textures are just so incredible. What's cool about skin, if you were to peel off somebody's skin, like that sounds really morbid and disturbing, so forgive me, that's, God, that came out less creepy in my mind. If you were to scientifically take off somebody's skin, it would not be the color you would think. It would actually be kind of a greenish hue. What gives it a tan coloration is actually the blood vessels and tissue underneath, which is actually red. So the opposite on the color scale of red is green. Most skin, when you just peel it right off, it's kind of like a dark green. Sometimes it's like opaque looking. Sometimes the light will literally go right through it and it looks like this iridescent, like soap bubble almost. It does this, how would you describe it? Have you ever seen jade? Jade is, how do you describe that? There's a name for it. We're going to try to think of that word, but it's opaque. Like you can almost see through it, but the light refracts under the surface. So if you were to shine a flashlight under your fingers, if you notice, they glow from the backside. And that is because your skin is actually opaque. You can see right through it. So given that light scatters under the surface, when sunlight hits it, you see all kinds of colors other than just pinks and browns and tans. Like there's green, there's blue, there's everything, because all of these colors are, and all of these lights are reflecting and refracting underneath the surface, because skin itself is luminescent. It's see-through. Well, not like invisible, but you know, it's not totally clear either. But kind of like if you were to shove a flashlight or a beam of light through a bar of soap, how it almost gives off this I don't know what to call that. This light. I'm not sure what to call it. I want to say it's luminescent, or God, there's another word for it. Opaque. That's probably the best word I can describe. Opaque. Okay, so let me go around her eyes. What's cool about eyebrow ridges, again, if you follow that heart that I talked about in the last video, this follows a certain shading pattern. Let's see. So if you shade it like this, like an actual heart, it will give you that shine on the edge of the eyebrow. It looks like she's got kind of a center light right here. This. Okay. Oh my God. I'm sorry. You know, that should be my trademark thing, you know? Bob Ross does the happy little trees, and I do the happy little burps, man. Just throwing some burps, just throwing some gas and some chili, you know? Whew. Yep. Spicy chicken curry, you know? A few wet burritos from Los Domingos. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. Let's see. Okay. There we go. What's cool about a human face is that it always follows this this contour. Like if I could just draw the lines, just the contour of the way that the human face flows, you would be amazed. Like just how mathematically perfect, and there's just no way. Like it goes down like this, the lines, and it wraps around, and then it comes out like this, and then it goes down for the cheeks. Like it does this, it's hard to describe. I could do it in a later video, like if I wanted to describe just shadowing and lighting, like the way that these lines contour and flow, it is just incredible. There we go. So like when you lay down the first layer of color, what you want to do is just very lightly put kind of a matte color to it, and then you start doing the finer details. Like you really want to layer this with different colors. If you just leave it one color, it's incomplete. Like if you were to zoom in, here's an example. If you were to zoom in on this picture to where you could see, oh my God, there's a glare, to where you could see individual like pixels, right? Zoom all the way in. Well, let me try it on paint. Open with. I know this isn't all drawing, but I really want to people to understand this concept. Like if you were to zoom in to individual pixels on her face, watch this. Zoom all the way in to an individual pixel. Like you will see little squares of color. This square is not the same color as this. This is not the same color as this. This one has more pink. This one has more orange. This one has green. Like you can see all kinds of different colors when you zoom in on a picture that will also really help you to find these tones. So that's another way that I look for colors. I gotta zoom back in. Zoom in. Technology. It's nice when it works. Oh, just zoomed out. Really? That's okay. I'm too lazy to edit this video. I really am. Okay. So, where's my pencil? Are you serious? Okay, so if you're working off of a digital picture and you want to find out exactly what colors to use, sometimes it helps to zoom in on the digital picture to see individual pixels and analyze those pixels with that color drop tool. Especially in the paint program, if you take that color drop tool, you can analyze that color, that specific, whatever. And it will pull up, usually it'll pull up information on that specific color so you can match it with your color pencils. That's also a really good way to get an idea of where your colors are at. There we go. Okay. Cheeks always come down to a point. For some reason, they just come down to this little point and then they go straight down. See what I'm saying? Right there. They just kind of go right there. Not sure why. Okay. Sorry, this process is so slow. Like, I really just want to explain this step by step because I want people to know how to draw. Like, why pay $1,000 or a gazillion dollars just to be like, okay, class, let's do this doodle with some, naked dude. Like, oh God, no, thank you. I was in a life drawing class once, and I found out my friend was a model. I said, dude, I love you, man, but not like that. So, why pay $1,000 just to get this education, whatever? You could just learn this. It's so simple just to learn it on your own. All you gotta do really is just watch a ton of YouTube videos and just practice a lot. Just observe. So, like, if I'm going very slow, forgive me, but slow and steady wins the race with this stuff. Like, everyone wants those quick YouTube tutorials, like, I want to learn this really quick. But if you really want to learn something, it will take time. So I'm going to make sure and try to really thoroughly explain what I know. Because there's a lot to it. If you want to get good, you really have to know, just different things. Okay, so she has this eyelid that comes up here. There we go. There. Let's see. There's always some kind of indentation under the lip for some reason. In order for this part to protrude, there's actually two muscles on either side here that lead up to the lip. So there's this little indentation right here. It's not obvious in everybody, but for the most part, I noticed there's a kind of this indent right there. Let's see. Like right now, this picture does not look like anything. But once you add enough layers and you blend it enough, you'll start to see a picture really forming. Like the first few layers are not going to have high contrast. The high contrast is usually a result of the finished product. So let me look at the highlights of her eyes real quick here. Okay, goodness. Okay. Okay. So with highlights in people's eyes, eyes are interesting because given that the sky is usually, not always, but usually the sky is blue, the center highlight is usually blue. It's got this blue, so you just draw a circle like that, right? Then, where's the black colored pencil? Here. None of these are sharpened. I'm so unprepared. So then like right there, if you go around this with black, like that. But the thing about eyes is that they're not solid. It's not like a solid circle. They kind of blend. Like even the eye part kind of blends. So what I'm saying is this. So that's the black. Then you go around that with brown and leave just a little bit of blue. Just a little bit. So that looks like the highlight. And then same thing around the outer edges. You don't want a solid line because that looks cartoonish. You want even it to blend like that. So then toward the edges of the eye, because you gotta remember, the eye is a sphere. Underneath all these layers, this is a sphere. So you gotta shade it like a sphere. So on the outer corners, again, use blue. Actually, this blue. Because it's reflective. Eyeballs are even more opaque than skin. Even more. Like, light literally bounces through these things. Okay, so there's blue there. Let me try like a peach color. Because in your eyes you have like peach tones also. I want to say you want to use these two colors to shade the eyes. Peach and blue, like sky blue specifically. You want to use these colors for the eyes. Because it creates this very organic sheen color. It's not too white to where it's like, whoa, you know. Like a Storm from X-Men, and she just says it was like whoa. There we go. I might just use this to blend this outer part right here. Like that. There we go. Yeah. Oh yeah. See how it gives it that depth? So it's not totally flat. It's actually kind of round looking. Okay, same thing with this one. And I think she's wearing eyeliner. She is. Yay. Okay. Let me actually fix this. I'm all jumping from thing to thing. You're like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then I just jump off and do some other thing. I'm never consistent, I'm sorry. That's the way it goes with art though. Like you pay attention to one little thing at a time, and you could jump to another area of it, and then focus on just that. That's just the way it goes. There we go. Okay. So the hair, see, I'm doing that jumping stuff again, man. I just saw like, hey, here's another opportunity to use this pencil because there's these neat wavy lines here. Like, something about doing these wavy lines, it's like cheating but not cheating because it gives this excellent texture, but it's so easy. It's almost cheating. Is that cheating? Nah. Well, maybe. I don't know. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah. Starting to come alive. Okay, so for the lips, I'll use like a deep red brown, maybe. I still have to finish that other eye. See, this is what I mean. I'm just skipping around. I'm just skipping. Oh no. Okay. Same thing with the teeth as with the eye. You know how we would shade the outer part of the eye to make it look spherical? Your teeth are also not spherical, but cylindrical, meaning they wrap around. So you want to shade the edges, because in general, the lighting is toward the center. So what I mean is that, you know, if you get some teeth in here, you know, just make them a little bit darker. And when you shade, don't shade with like pencils that are gray or black, because it loses the color. Like if you want to shade with objects that are like a luminescent off-white color, like ivory color, you want to use blue and peach every single time. Like every single time. Blue and peach are the best ways to shade this, because then, you know, you don't have the, you know, the, I don't know, it's just something about gray teeth. There you go. See how that gives like kind of a pearly look there. Oh yeah. I only do it on the outer edge, because toward the center is highlights. Okay, so then blend that. Here's the, I had a red pencil in here. What do I do with it? Always losing stuff. Forgive me, but I'm too lazy to edit this video. I would crop that stuff out, but okay, so let's see. Here we go. Lips are cool, actually. What I like about lips is that they have these lines. Like, check this out. Okay. They always follow the curvature of the lips. See, like that, they have these lines, and they just follow that contour. Like that. Okay. Same thing for the bottom. There's usually one single line down the middle, usually, because the lip is two muscles. There's a muscle right here, and there's a muscle on this side right here. And these muscles on either side pull these up and down. That's how they work. So let's do like this. So these lines, you want those to wrap around like so. See how it gives the illusion of three-dimensional lips that stand out at you. There we go. See? They follow that contour. Okay. And then what movie was that from? And then, okay. There we go. Her lipstick appears to be also a matte color. There's no real shine on it. With the more glossy lips that you see, there's usually a very small highlight depending on the level of gloss or shine. Depending on how shiny it is, your highlight is going to be smaller. The less shiny that something is, the more gradual you fade the colors. But when it's shiny, the shinier it becomes, the smaller and more drastic that highlight becomes. Usually, if you want it ultra glossy to where it looks like plastic, you know, or diamonds, you know. Let's see. Somebody's Facebooking me. Too lazy to respond. There we go. I'm gonna put some pink over her eye too. And maybe some cheeks. But up here, I'm gonna use a very specific color for up here, because this is where all that bluish light comes. And believe it or not, you don't use sky blue. You actually want to add a little bit of purple. Because if you zoom in on it, even though the hue of that light that's coming on her face is blue, if you want it to appear blue, believe it or not, you use like a bluish purple. Here's what I'm saying. Like this. That's like a bluish purple. Like, here's what I'm saying. If you really want to emphasize a highlight that appears blue on somebody's skin, you actually use purple. And again, it's because skin is, what do you call that, opaque? Because there's all that red that reflect, oh my god, I can't say that word. Because light refracts and scatters under the surface, you know, there is muscles and blood vessels and all kinds of red tissue under the surface. So if you mix blue with all that red stuff under your skin, because it's illuminating all that muscle tissue, because that's what the light does. When the light hits you right here, it looks like there's a blue, like on my hand, for example. See how on the outer edge, I cannot hold this with two hands, but against the outer edge of my hand, right there, it looks blue. Like there is this blue highlight. But if you zoom in all the way, you'll see that it's actually purple. If you were to put that on paper, that would be purple, because underneath your skin is actually red muscles, tendons, things like that. So when the light hits it, it's lighting up all those muscles underneath, and that's what makes it look blue. But if you really want to put that on paper, it's actually like a blue purple, like blue purple, you know. It's just, it's interesting how this stuff works. So let's see how it gives that that suggestion that there's a soft blue light entering onto her face. Because if I was to do outright blue, it would actually make her skin look green, and that's no. Yeah, it's funny how colors work. It's really interesting. There are colors in human skin that you would not even realize. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy. Who would have thought to put purple on somebody's skin if they're drawing, right? You're thinking, you know, okay, well, peach and tan and brown, but green and purple and all these other colors, wow, you know? Okay, so her cheeks are kind of red. God, what do I got in here? Do I have red? Well, while I'm looking for that, I'm going to use this color. This is more of an orange brown. Let's see. I never sharpen my stuff. I'm always unprepared and scatterbrained. Okay. I am always unprepared. I love it. I'm eternally unprepared for absolutely everything in my life. Okay. Yeah, this is more of an orange brown, because the lighting from underneath is more orange, because, you know, she's at the beach in this photo, so the light from the sand, which is orange, is going to be reflecting onto her face. That's where the orange is coming from, is from the sand. So the sky puts blue light down, and the sand puts orange light up. Isn't that interesting? Like, just, and if you think about it, the light that's coming up from the sand was light that's coming from the sky. So it's bouncing in all kinds of directions. It's so fascinating how this works. It's literally like you're coloring with light and color and everything. It's really interesting. Like there is a mathematical formula for how light scatters and reflects and refracts and bounces off different surfaces. If it's a shiny surface, it will scatter in a completely different direction than if it's a matte surface. It's crazy. It's really crazy how it works. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah. Starting to come alive. Woohoo! Let's see. Okay. The nose, this is the biggest secret about noses because it's so hard to make a nose look 3D. Eyes have an outline. Lips have an outline. But how do you define a nose? Like how? Noses are the hardest part on any portrait ever. Like how do you define a shape that has no visible outline, right? So toward the bottom, if you look at this, let me try to zoom. There you go. Toward the bottom, if you leave a little bit of white space under the right there, it leaves that little highlight on the edge that suggests that this is a 3D nose coming out. Just by leaving that little gap right there. So then toward the edge right here, it's going to come in. And there's obviously a little bit of darkness right here to suggest that this is a three-dimensional shape that's coming out, like it's coming out from the face. You want your contrast right there. Does that make sense? There we go. So that, if you put that dark spot right there, just on the edge, and then have it fade out, you can tell that it's coming out from her face. But by leaving just that little, gap right there of white, where that line is, just that little highlight right there changes everything. It makes it look so three-dimensional. The most subtle highlights can change the entire picture. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Like, you could make somebody's skin look oily just by putting a few white dots. Just by putting just a few dots or highlights, you could make their skin look like they're about to get the breakout from hell. Or, like if you were to make it look more matte finished with less highlights,